The launch of a new Bluey tourist attraction in Brisbane yesterday was a sign that something was wrong.
As one of the biggest kids brands.
The Lord Mayor was a no-show. He later explained why.
Well, today we stand here with a heavy heart because it didn't have to be this way.
LNP Lord Mayor Adrian Schrinner worked closely with the Queensland Premier to secure the 2032 Olympics. But that bipartisanship ended yesterday with his resignation from a key Olympic committee and a scathing assessment of the Games organisation.
Hosting the Olympics is a privilege and a great opportunity for the state, but the state wanted to make it a political plaything.
The Queensland Premier and Minister for the Olympics and Paralympics, Anastasia Palaszczuk, today questioned the motives of the Lord Mayor. As the Minister for the Olympics, do you at least take part responsibility for this loss of bipartisanship?
Look, there's council elections coming up and people will say things and do things what they perceive to be in their best interest coming up to an election.
So you're saying it was all politically motivated?
Well, I said I'm going to sit down and offer the hand of friendship to the Lord Mayor. I get along very well with him. I'm happy to sit down with him and talk through the matters with him.
The centrepiece of the bid to secure the 2032 Olympics was a redevelopment of the Brisbane Gabba sporting venue, a massive project both the Lord Mayor and Premier enthusiastically embraced.
There are not too many cities in the world that can have the heart of an Olympic Games 2 kilometres from the city.
It'll be modern, it'll be high-tech, it'll be sustainable, there will not be a bad seat.
But as the cost blew out from an initial estimate of $1 billion to $2.7 billion, opposition grew, particularly from the Queensland Greens. And last week the government announced another $137 million stadium redevelopment at the nearby showgrounds to host events while the Gabba is being rebuilt.
This is really primarily about bringing up to standard a very important asset of the city and the whole of the state.
The Lord Mayor wasn't informed of this announcement beforehand, prompting his resignation from an intergovernmental Olympic forum and withdrawing his support for the Gabba redevelopment.
And so we stand here today, drawing a line in the sand, calling for an independent authority to fix up the mess the state government has created.
The Olympics were meant to bring people together. Unfortunately, what we've seen under the Palaszczuk government is, under their watch, it's tearing people apart.
I think the truth is the Lord Mayor supports the Gabba. I think he does. He supported it.
That's not what he says.
Well, he supported it. Well, let's look at the facts. He's just questioned it in the last couple of days. We've got a commitment to this Olympics. We have to deliver it, not just for our state and nation, but for the world. We want to get that right.
Cameron Dick is the Queensland Treasurer and Acting Sports Minister and is adamant the Games planning and the Gabba redevelopment is still on track.
This is going to take time, but I'm a bit old school with this stuff. Measure twice, cut once. Take your time to get it right before you deliver that.
7:30 approached the Lord Mayor for an interview. His office said he was unavailable, but he would be happy to meet with the Premier. The controversy comes against a backdrop of speculation about the Premier's leadership. Two former Labor ministers with nearly 50 years of parliamentary experience between them, Rob Schwarten and Bob Gibbs, have gone public in the past few days, calling on the Premier to resign, citing poor polling.
I was in primary school when Bob Gibbs was in Parliament. It's you know, these people are from many, many years ago.
The criticism is pretty scathing, though. Bob Gibbs described your leadership as cringeworthy. Does it at least give you pause for thought about whether you want to stay in the top job?
Well, I don't pay any attention to comments coming from, as I said, someone who was in office when I was in primary school. Yes.
But how confident are you that this is not part of a coordinated campaign? That's two senior ministers, ex-ministers that have come
from many, many, many years ago.
Who's sending them out, do you think?
Well, probably themselves.
Zero tolerance. When do we work? Now!
It's the second time in 3 months the Premier has faced questions about her leadership. The last time was prompted by her decision to take an unannounced overseas trip during a youth crime crisis. The Treasurer says the Premier's job is secure.
We've got some former MPs who've made some comments. That's a matter for them. It's not distracting us from our job, delivering for Queensland.
But some of your colleagues in marginal seats must be getting nervous. The polls are heading south. With comments like these, surely it's going to stir up some anxiety, some disquiet.
All I can say is what I hear from my colleagues. The Parliamentary Party remains united around and for the Premier's leadership. We've got a big job to deliver for Queensland over the next 11 months or so. That's our focus.